Okie dokie. We got another one where we've got two sides and we're missing one side and two angles. So we're missing side DF, right? We're looking for the length of DF. We are also missing angle D and angle F. So we want the measure of angle D and the measure of angle F. Right? So again, we're trying to find the missing measurements in a triangle using right triangle trigonometry, Pythagorean theorem, that everything that we've learned in the past day or so. So when we do this, I've got two sides in a right triangle. I know I can use the Pythagorean theorem to find the third side. So I'm going to jump right in there. And so I'm going to write, now remember, DF is the hypotenuse here, right? It's our longest side. It's across from the 90 degrees. So we know that that's our C. Doesn't matter if I do 2.1 squared plus 5.3 squared or vice versa. The only thing that matters is that that C is going to be on its own on the right side of our equation. So 2.1 squared plus 5.3 squared has to equal C squared. Okay, go to your calculators, type it in, you do 2.1 squared, and you get 4.41 plus your 5.3 squared, and you get 28.09. And that has to equal C squared. And when you combine your like terms, on the left side, you get a 32.5 equals your C squared. And of course, you're going to take the square root of both sides. And when you do that, you get 5.700877125. So that's what your calculator should read. And just like the last problem that we did together, we're going to round our side lengths to the nearest hundredth and our angles to the nearest degree. So we're going to do 5.70 for C. So 5.70 for that length. And of course, that length is the length of DF. That's what that represents. So 5.70. So we've got our side length, so we're done. Now, we have to find the measure of angle D and the measure of angle F. And again, you get to pick. You get to decide which one that you want to sit at. Okay. You're going to pick, and I'm just going to pick F because it's over here in the right corner. It's kind of easier. The thing that I don't think I said it in the last video, but I really want to stress this. Even though you have officially found the length of this as 5.70, when you go to find your angle measures and you use your side lengths to set up your ratios, you really do not want to actually use that. The reason you don't want to use what you solved for is not that I don't have faith in you. I know you guys are smart and you can do anything you set your minds to, but sometimes we make tiny little errors and you're not going to want to use that side length, because if you use that side length and you were a little bit mistaken when you did so, when you actually go to solve for your angle measure, you're going to be using the incorrect information, and when you go to solve for it, it's going to give you the wrong answer. So when you're solving for your angle measure, stick with what you were given. You were given the 2.1. You were given the 5.3. Use those sides. So if I'm sitting here at angle F, right, I then have the opposite side because I had to go across the triangle. And then I also have the adjacent side because it's right next to my angle. And yeah, I found the hypotenuse. Remember, I did, but what if I'm having an off day and it's not 5.7? Okay, so you want to just make sure that you're not doing anything crazy. Now you can kind of verify, because remember, your hypotenuse has to be the longest side. So your 5.7 is the biggest number out of 2.1 and 5.3. So you can kind of verify that you're probably right, but again, you don't want to make that one mistake. So when you're doing this and you have the opposite and adjacent, think of SOHCAHTOA. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So the tangent of F is going to be the opposite side length over the adjacent side length. Okay. Now again, I'm looking for an angle measure, so I do not have anything to plug in for the F. And you could write an X there if you want to, but remember, it's already a letter there, so there's no point in really changing the letter. So tangent of F equals 2.1, the opposite side length, over the 5.3. And just like in the first video that you got, when you have a letter equals a fraction, right? Tangent of a letter equals a fraction. These two have to change places. So I'm now going to write the tangent of, I write that fraction, 2.1 over 5.3, and you can put it in parentheses if it helps you out. That is going to equal F. That's going to equal the measure of angle F. Now remember, When they move, it costs $1. Cheapest moving fee ever, but it's still going to cost you $1. So instead of just typing in tangent on my calculator, and instead of hitting just the tangent button, I have to hit the second button and then the tangent button. And remember, that's actually going to show up. This part right here, in fact, even with the parenthesis right there, the part that I just highlighted in the blue box, tangent -1 parenthesis, that is what shows up on your calculator when you type that in there. So second tangent, and that's what you get. And you do 2.1 divided by 5.3, and you hit enter. When you do that, you're going to get 21.61477.894. I'm just giving you all that stuff so you can kind of verify that that's what you get. Now remember, we are going to round our angle measures to the nearest degree. So instead of 21.6 degrees, the measure of angle F is going to be 22 degrees. All right, and so I found that, and then yes, I am going to use that to find the other angle measure. You could set up another trig function if you wanted to, another trig equation, but you really don't have to do that. All you have to do is do 180 minus your 90 minus your 22, or if you remember the fact that, you really only have to do 90 minus the 22, then you get 68 degrees, and you've got your answers for your missing measurements. So that's what you get with those. Okay?